welcome. I'm Lily Martin, here today to bring you a special presentation on global warming and the Arctic. Today we have a number of guest interviews and also a special presentation by the singer J-Dog. Here's J-Dog with more information.
Hey everybody, this is J-Dog, and we are here behind the scenes of my new music video called Saving the Arctic. I know what you're thinking, since when does J-Dog rap about the Arctic? Well, this topic is very important to me. We need to take action now. What's going to happen if all the Arctic melts? Well, we're going to answer that question and more. Me and my homies started a foundation called Saving the Arctic. Just call the number 555-6832 to give your donations. Remember, every penny counts. Well, thank you all for your time and don't go anywhere.
Thank you, J-Dog. Up next, we have an interview with Mr. Scientist to give us a scientific perspective on global warming.
Hello, Lily. Glad to be on with you today.
What is the importance of the North Atlantic Ocean current in relation to the Arctic Ocean?
Well, the Atlantic Ocean's warm surface waters has a current that goes northward into the Arctic Ocean, which releases heat into the atmosphere and becomes cooler and denser. As they do, the water sinks and flows southward in the deep ocean. This usually helps moderate wintertime temperatures in the high latitude northern hemisphere.
Is that a bad thing?
Actually, no. But in the later part of the century, global warming has boosted freshwater runoff in the form of glacier meltwater, meaning that because of sea ice has been melting at a rapid pace, excessive amounts of freshwater have been put into the Atlantic Ocean, which in turn affects Arctic more so.
How do you have proof that the Atlantic is being heated by the Arctic?
Water flowing into the Arctic Ocean is the warmest it's been for more than 2,000 years. A group of scientists have found this by drilling into the sediment on the ocean seabed and finding organisms dating back 2,000 years, and then analyzing the organism's composition to find the past water temperatures. Basically a bunch of math stuff. They find that the average temperature of the Arctic is 3.5 Celsius, but now is 5.2 Celsius. Or for you non-scientists, 38 degrees Fahrenheit to 41 degrees Fahrenheit. It is simply concluded that the Arctic water is now warmer than during the medieval period, a common time that is looked back on.
How will the warmer water affect the Arctic and anywhere else?
Unfortunately, there's been a lot of talk of whether or not there will be an ice-free Arctic come next century, or if the ocean currents are going to slow down and no longer warm up Europe. Some few factors are already taking place make these notions more likely to happen. Ice has already been melting, and animals in the Arctic are already becoming endangered as they start to lose their homes. But that's bad news for the rest of us as well.
Well, thank you for your time, Mr. Scientist.
Well, thanks for having me.
Speaking of endangered animals, I'm here with Mr. Polar Bear via webcam to discuss how he's being affected by global warming.
Hello, Lily.
How are you this evening, Mr. Polar Bear?
Well, it's a bit warm today, Lily.
How is global warming affecting you?
Well, you see, Lily, the increasing temperature is warming up the Arctic. Ice is melting, and really fast!
And what does that mean for you?
It means I have less ice to rest on. I could be swimming for miles on end! Some of my friends have already drowned from being too exhausted.
Now, besides the ice melting, have there been any other effects of global warming?
Yes, migrant patterns have changed, which means there are less seals and fish for me to eat.
How do you stay nourished?
Most of us polar bears are getting thinner. We struggle to get food. Some polar bears eat their babies! Do you know how that feels? Oh my...
No, I can't relate. Well, speaking of babies, has survival rate increased or decreased?
Survival rate is about 45% for our youngster cubs.
So with the ice melting, lack of prey, and a decrease in cub survival rate, what do you predict is the future of polar bears?
I predict we'll go extinct. There's only 20 to 25,000 of us polar bears left in the whole wide world.
Well, thank you for your time, Mr. Polar Bear. We all appreciate your input.
Thank you for having me, Lily.
Mr. Polar Bear said it himself. Animals are being deeply affected in the Arctic. Next up, we have an interview with Baby Seal, who is also being affected by global warming.
Hi, Lily. How are you today?
Fine, thank you, Baby Seal. Now, could you please tell us about where in the Arctic you live?
I live on the Tidewater Glaciers. It is my favorite place to be. Tidewater glaciers allow us to have an abundant supply of nutrients. It is very accessible for us small, tiny animals, and it helps us avoid predators.
How is this home safe for you?
These Tidewater glaciers allow me and my fellow buddies to avoid those nasty old polar bears and killer whales. Since my home is melting, I have no way to protect myself from these mean old animals.
And how is global warming affecting you?
Because of the ice melting, with no icebergs for me to stay on, I am not able to find my food or rest. And my mama is not able to mate either. This means I won't be able to have any sisters or brothers.
Living in the Arctic sounds very difficult. How are you dealing with this?
Honestly, we are in much trouble because of this. We have already lost one species.
No, this sounds very frustrating.
This is horribly frustrating. I hate this. My great-great-great-granddaddy had an easier life than I do.
Now, how is foraging for food?
I mainly eat fish and squid, but I also like krill. The problem with this is that my food is moving to a different place. So my mama and my family can't stay near the tidewaters and need to follow the fish to survive.
Now, are there any other habitats that you could possibly move to?
Only 5 other types of pinnipeds that are kind of like me live in tropical waters. It takes many years for us to adapt to a new environment. I am made for this environment of cold temperatures, which is why I have blubber that keeps me cozy and warm. My kind, according to my mama, have retained our biological ties to ice as a platform for birthing and caring for their pups like me. My papa believes that we are the greatest immediate concern as we have no option to move to more favorable areas because of this climate change.
What can people do to make a difference for you?
Stop using greenhouse gases. Find ways to decrease your carbon footprint. It is easy. Save the future!
Well, thank you, Baby Seal, for your time. I hope all goes well.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for hearing us out. Have a great day!
Well, thank you for watching our section on global warming and how it affects the Arctic. I want to give special thanks to our interviewers, Mr. Scientist, Mr. Polar Bear, Baby Seal, and J-Dog. And now for our closing remarks, here's J-Dog with a special presentation.
Alright, thanks everybody for watching, and remember, every penny counts, so donate to the foundation Saving the Arctic. I want to give a big thank you to all those who were willing to speak about this serious problem. As a token of my gratitude, here's a small teaser of my new music video, Saving the Arctic, before its worldwide premiere. Me and my homies are here today because we all have a goal to meet. Global warming is raising the Earth's temperature day by day. The Arctic ice is melting due to heat. Want to know the contributions for sea level rising? Let me give you the information completely. 1. Thermal expansion, that's not surprising. 2. Ice cap and glacier melting extremely. 3. Polar ice sheet loss. 4. Anthropogenic effects or human activities. This is happening in the Arctic and all across. Reducing the sea level is one of our responsibilities. If not, polar bears, whales, walrus, fish, and seals change their feeding patterns, making it hard on natives that need to hunt or fish, because they also change their migration patterns. When sea level rises, sea turtles lose their nesting ground. That's why 6 different types of turtles are endangered. Their eggs in the beach wouldn't be found. Migratory birds are also in danger. They need to rest and eat, but if their habitat disappears, it's all because there's too much heat. If no action is taken, these birds will not reappear. If Greenland were to vanish, 6.5 meters of sea level will rise. Places around the coastline will be flooded and even cities established. Refugees and even death rates would arise. Whole countries can be flooded entirely. Some of them being China, Vietnam, India, and Bangladesh. Even entire islands can be wiped out completely. Seawater will no longer be fresh. Considering saltwater will be pushed into their aquifers, humans will lack drinking water because the ocean is the only supplier for clean drinking water. Water not being fresh can also lead to contamination. Species underwater and fishing will be affected. It will affect all businesses and the economy in different nations. With sea level rising and the global warming that is all expected, sea level and albedo are proportionally indirectly. When the ice melts and the albedo gets low, more sunlight is absorbed directly. The amount of ice melting begins to grow. Not all the ice that melts raises the sea level. Ice that floats does not, because ice displaces with water level, but Greenland with landmass underneath will make it rise a lot. Large clockwise gyre is broken. This changes the conveyor belt. The sea ice can no longer be stored. Drift pattern drives old Arctic sea ice for it to melt. Global warming must be stopped or the ecosystem will never be restored.
Get your input.
Okay.
Do you want to
Do you wanna
start
do it
over
again?
again?
Oh my god, yes.
Okay.
That was so bad.
I don't know what to do, you guys.
No, they have one.
It's so creepy.